This is an update video for the presidential election. So, to start off, I do feel that that it's a very similar outcome from the first reading that I did. I know I didn't actually say it in my previous video, but before the election happened, when I did my reading, I did feel that Trump would win, and that Hillary would portray herself to be upset if she lost, when not really being upset. And I feel like that Hillary, they didn't really know who was going to win or not, but Hillary, I'll put it this way, Hillary was prepared to lose. If she lost, she was okay with it, because she knew that if she lost, there was a contingency plan already in place. Because remember, I said that Hillary and Obama and the UN were all in cahoots with each other, and so there was no real reaction from her, because she knew that there was already a plan in place if she did not win. And so obviously we know now that Trump has won, but I do feel that Obama is going to stay in office. So from this reading, this is Obama. He's connected to a higher power, which is a high priestess, to which he's bound to. Okay. And really, in a sense, that this whole thing being bound to a higher power, it really is being bound to globalism. So being bound to not only the UN, but to the sort of this entity of globalism. So this represents Trump, right? And currently, what Trump is doing is he's promising a lot of good changes, right? This represents change. This represents it being good changes, right? And he's sort of already started to implement a little bit of this, where we all know that he's done the carrier deal and done some other things, and he's been saying a lot of things about the changes that he would make if he when he gets into office, and they're big changes, changes to the tax code, changes to the way that people do business in the U.S. So lots of different things that he's been working on. Now, what's so interesting is that this card showed up again, and in my first reading, I do say that somebody's watching the election and somebody's controlling it. I do believe that Obama was watching it very closely and obviously had some control over one half of it. He has control over the half of it that was Hillary's half. So if Hillary won, they would have been right on track, right? It would have been fine. But I think that now that some things have come to light, I think that this person controlling and watching the election has dual meaning. I do believe now that this represents Russia as well. Since it's come out, that Russia may have had a part to play in electing Trump. Now, what I see is that the globalists, Obama and the UN and others, they see this as an opportunity that this information came out, and they're going to use it against Trump. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to put a halt. They're going to put a halt to the election. They're going to expose this and investigate this whole controlling of the election. They're going to blame Trump for it. Okay, I think that they're going to implicate him and say that not only was Russia trying to get you in, but you had something to do with it. Like you were paying them to do this or something of that nature. I don't know if that's true or not, but I feel like that's what the implication is going to be. And when this implication comes and there's a halt to the election, meaning there's a halt to Trump getting inaugurated, and Obama then has to deliver the news that he's staying, it's going to cause extreme chaos. And I do believe that there could be almost like a civil war type of thing. But they are already prepared for this to happen. They already knew that if Trump won, they were going to find a way to make sure that Trump did not take office. And so they prepared themselves for this sort of reaction. And I think what will happen is that when this all goes down, I think not only are they going to implicate Trump, that they probably might even bring charges against him, something of that nature. Obama will stay in office, and it will sort of be like this is halted, the election is halted until we figure this out, until we figure out what happened here, which means I have to stay in office, and I don't think that they will actually I don't think that it would actually go through the suing of Trump, meaning because I do believe that once this all happens, Trump will be pissed that they're doing this to him. But I think once all this happens, eventually, because there's going to be so much threats against they're going to strong arm him. So they're going to put so many threats towards him, saying we know you were in cahoots with Russia, this is treason or something, we're going to sue you, we're going to put you in jail, we're going to whatever it is, right? Because there's going to be all these threats, Trump is just going to be like, forget this, I give up, I don't want to be president, I'm walking away. because I don't want to be implicated with this. Like, I had nothing to do with Russia, like, and I truly believe that he hadn't. I don't think he had anything to do with Russia. I think that, I just think that for whatever reason, Russia got involved. It could even be the globalists, like, setting up a reason that if Trump won, they had a reason ready to go, which was Russia hacking the election. So these people, like, UN and these people, like, they are prepared for anything that comes their way. So, I think that they started to see what kind of a person Trump was going to be, and they said, it's cool, we will have a backup plan. If he gets elected, we will have a backup plan, which may even be that this is included. That, like, they're just telling, this may not even be true, that they're just telling people, like, oh my gosh, Russia was involved, and Trump had something to do with it, and, now we're putting a halt to it, right? The election. And so and they're gonna strong arm him and be like, we got all this crap on you, like, we're gonna take you down. He's gonna be like, forget it. Like, I'm not interested in being president anymore because, like, of this crap. Now, Trump, I do feel like, is the type of person that when this happens, when he gets sort of, like, kicked out of becoming president, because they're gonna insinuate that he did a criminal act, he'll walk away so that he's not implicated in anything. But I feel like he wouldn't, like, shut up about it. Like, he wouldn't, like, just go away. I think he's gonna, like, continue to talk about it for a very long time, and be like, it's all rigged, like, it's all bullshit, like, and he's gonna be, if you've seen my first reading, when all this goes down and Obama stays in and then the UN is taking over, and, like, people are going to be shocked and they're not going to know what to do, but then they're going to start to wake up and they're going to realize, like, what's happened. I think when they start to realize that, like, Trump would have been, like, probably one of the first people to, like, say, like, this shit's all rigged, like, and people are gonna be like, what are you talking about? Like, you're crazy, like, you're a criminal, right? But then eventually they're gonna be like, oh my god, Trump was right. Like, same thing that, like I said in my first video, same thing that's gonna happen about alternative media. So right now, a perfect example is the alternative media is being attacked, right? And they're being called fake news right now. Like, anything they put out is fake news. When in actuality, when whatever they put out actually has come true. And so they're being called fake news right now. But eventually, people are going to start to realize, like, oh my gosh, everything that they said is true. Everything that they said is coming true, or for whatever reason, like, there's going to be whistleblowers and things of that nature that is going to open people's eyes, and then it's going to be like, oh my gosh, Trump was right, alternative media was right, like all these things. So, like I said, very similar reading to my previous reading. I still feel like Obama will stay in. I wasn't quite sure, I did a reading where I looked at it to try to see if like Trump would actually be inaugurated, and it was interesting. I did feel like even if Trump got inaugurated, he would be strong-armed out of the presidency. That he would be like threatened in some way, and he would resign. So either way, like, no matter what, if Trump actually gets inaugurated or not, he's going to either like leave and or resign, because they're not going to allow him to make these sort of good changes to the U.S. And it's all because of money. That's the main reason why they wouldn't allow it. So I think we're gonna have very interesting time ahead, and I do feel that that Obama would be in for another 4 years. That he would get like a third term, and after that, I'm not too sure. I know that like in my last reading, I did say that we would have a female president. We would elect a female president. I do feel like we probably would still elect a female female, but I'm not so sure about like if it would be sort of like the same type of government that we have currently. And I know that's hard to even like imagine, but when all this happens, when all this goes down, like, it's gonna wake people up, and they're gonna realize that like our system is totally broken, and like the checks and balances are not there anymore, and like it's gonna allow like Obama and the UN to really like take over everything, and people are gonna be like, whoa, like, I thought we had a government that didn't even allow for this sort of stuff to happen, to like allow things to be taken over. And so when people start to realize, like, actually, like, it's been it's gonna feel like a swift takeover, but it's actually been a very long, slow takeover, to where they've been changing the laws very slowly, increment by increment, and they're gonna be like, wow, I had no idea that like that so much has already been changed, that like happened right underneath our noses. So when people talk about, like, I know a lot of people talk about Baba Vanga, I think was her name, or Baba Vega, who was like the blind psychic, who said that Obama would be the last president. I think he is going to be the last president, like, in the sense that, like, we know it. So, like, not like that the world's gonna end or the US is gonna end or anything like that. I think that, like, after Obama's third term, it's gonna be like, we can never allow this to happen again. We have to have a complete and total overhaul of our government system so that we can, like, have the checks and balances, and in a way that they can never be changed, that, like, that it will never happen again. And so I think, like, in the future, it's gonna be like, we're gonna have a leader, but I'm not so sure they're gonna be called the president. Like, I think that we're gonna I don't even know if it would be one leader. I feel like it would be maybe even, like, some sort of, like, council of leaders. Like, it's gonna be a different government. We're going to come up with a better way to do democracy, is basically. And I feel like also that possibly the Electoral College will probably go away in 2020, mainly because of, like, the disillusionment that this whole situation was caused by that, because, you know, everyone is so, like, so in shock about how Hillary won the popular vote and Trump won the Electoral College. And I think that the new generations of people coming through are going to be like, what is this archaic system? Like, this is ridiculous. This does not work for us anymore, and we're not having it anymore. So I think that, like with this card being here, it just shows that, like, there's going to be extreme changes in the US. There's going to be extreme changes to the way our government is, the way our country is. But it's not going to be bad. It's not going to be bad. They're going to be good changes. Eventually. But it's probably going to take some time to get used to some of these things that are going to change. But yeah, I think and probably after this all happens, I mean, like I said in the first reading, like, we're gonna have to continue to fight these people. You know, like, fight them off, you know, to so that we're not having to bow down to sort of a global government. Because they're still going to be around, and they're still going to be tempted to try again to take us over, to bind us, to do all those things. So they're going to feel like they're going to get the feeling that they won. Once Obama's in again, they're going to feel like, yes, we did it. Our plans are working, right? But then they're underestimating the American people, just like they underestimated other countries. Like, they underestimated Iceland, they underestimated what was that other one? I can't remember now. But you know, there's other countries that they are and that's why we're having all these wars in the Middle East. It's because all those countries are resisting their control. That's why there's war there, because they're trying to take it over. And so they're underestimating the Middle East because, of course, they're not winning there, and they're gonna underestimate the U.S. Because the U.S. is gonna fight. But what's funny is that unfortunately, we live in the age of information, but information gets lost so much on so many people, because, for instance, like, the reason why there's war in the Middle East is because these people are trying to take over, and the governments are not willing to give up their control, right? Well, the people don't know that. So the people assume, and they see, what countries' armies are there, which obviously they do use the U.S. They use the U.S. very much in as sort of their strong arm, right? And so all the people see in those countries is they see the U.S. Army and our allies, their armies, like they see the England and France. They see their armies there, and so they think, oh, you're gonna try and come and take over our country and kill us? F you, we're gonna kill you right back, right? And so what's born out of that? Well, then radical Islam is born out of that, and you get these people who think that that people of the West are infidels and are just trying to take them over and kill them. That's how they see it, right? We're sitting here calling them terrorists, right? But in all actuality, they're only terrorists because they're being terrorized. So it's definitely one of those things that where people just can only see things from their perspective a lot of the times. And so the people there, they're only seeing it from their perspective. Well, what's going to happen in the U.S. is the same thing. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to fight, right, in the beginning. There's a lot of people that are going to fight for what they think is right? They're gonna fight for their perspective, right? So in the beginning, when there's gonna be sort of this unrest, it's gonna be, we're gonna fight for Trump, right? We're gonna fight for, because he was the person we wanted to be president. And they're not going to realize that there's so much more to it than just like being pissed that Trump's not the president. Like, there's so much more at stake. And it's like the same thing as what happens in the Middle East. It's like these people fight, right? Because they're like, oh, we don't want to be taken over, right? We don't want these, people to come in and take our oil and take our land, right? But they're not understanding that there's so much more at stake, because literally these people are trying to take over their governments and their money. So it's a tough thing. It's one of those things that unfortunately a lot of people are just never going to know. But then you have the people that are able to break free of that and see what is going on. The perfect example is Iceland. What happened in Iceland? They got taken over by these globalist banks, right? These people that wanted to take over their money system. And what happened was they made them start to borrow their own money to where they had to pay back an interest on their own money, which is what we do right now. with the Federal Reserve, and it bankrupt them, which it obviously would, right? Because you can't, if you can't, if you can't print your own money anymore, and you have to pay interest on every dollar or whatever currency you use, if you have to pay interest on that money, there's no way that you could ever pay it back, right? So what Iceland did, they realized that they got duped, right? And they said, no, we're not having this. And they literally arrested and put in jail all their bankers. And they took back their money system. And it is on record like the fastest recovery of a bankrupt country ever in history. Because they were like, we're not doing that. And they literally took back their ability to print their own money. And they put all their bankers in jail. So it's something that we have to be so careful about, and we have to keep such a close eye on. And it's honestly something that, and maybe that's what will partly happen in 2020, because that's what this is, you know. I mean, like this is like takeover of not only our country but our money. I mean, they already have control over our money system. So they're just trying to, you know, get control of everything. And I think once people start to wake up, it might be like, F this. We're not paying interest on our own money ever again. We're taking back our money system. We're taking back our ability to print our money. That would be awesome, you know, because that would put us back into prosperity and not into a system of debt. So it's interesting. Everything's going to change in 4 years. Our government, probably our money system, probably the way we govern. We're probably not going to have a president anymore. It's probably going to be called something else, or there might be more than one person. I do feel like we'll probably have more women involved in higher positions in government. And they're probably one of the biggest things that will probably happen is probably term limits will be implemented. And it will be like ironclad, to where like there's nothing that can be done. It is what it is. Like when your term is up, it's up. Like you cannot change it. So very interesting. It's gonna be tough 4 years, but you know, we're gonna get through it, and we're gonna come out at the end with something way better. And just be prepared, because they are prepared, and you know, we're gonna have to fight for what we want. You know, our founders warned us of this. You know, and we're gonna have to fight to keep our freedom, our sovereignty, and our democracy. So, fight on, people. Fight the good fight.